problem. No problem at all. I'm glad you were able to
Oh,
work it out. It's good to see you.
yeah, you too. How have you been?
I've been well. I've been
Good.
well.
Good to
Yeah,
hear.
it's been a crazy year, but oh my goodness, there's just so much I'm thankful for in the midst of everything. So, yeah,
Good to
how
hear.
about
Thank
yourself?
you. Oh gosh, it's been well, at least the last week and a half, it's been an adjustment period. I just started on my own a week and a half ago, so it's quite a change, but I really
Congratulations.
like the challenge. Thank you. Yeah.
Wow, wow. So I'm super interested in hearing about more about this because it's funny. Like I posted a clip of you like the other day, and like it was talking about like what you're doing. I just thought it was so appropriate because you decided to go out on your own and all the people that have supported you in that. So why now? Why take the plunge now and leave kind of what you were doing within an organization and going out on your own?
Well, it was perfect timing, to be honest. I think that all of the accumulating events leading up to this decision just, honestly, it's amazing how it happened. Um, yeah, I think that I felt like I was already outgrowing where I was, and that's nothing against where I was working, but I just feel like I have bigger dreams than what I was able to actually accomplish where I was. Um, and it's kind of a funny time because it almost seems like it's not a good time to start up my own business just because of COVID, right? But I mean, what better time than now? Because I just feel like if I didn't do it now, it would have been, later down the road where I would have been asking myself the same question, like, when am I going to start? But I guess you just got to take the plunge with these things, and as scary as it seems from the outside, it's worth it. So it's been worth it so far.
That's amazing. And you said it's been like what, 2 weeks, 2 3 weeks?
Yeah, just about 2 weeks now. I'm entering into my second week, so yeah, it's been fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
hmm Yeah, so I think it's kind of cool that we connected the way we did, and just how everything is just coming full circle. And I'm actually working with another lady who I was involved with in the Frontline Faces project, which
Yeah.
I never expected that I would. So it's funny the community that I've generated, and the people I've connected with that are helping me in this process. It's amazing, really.
That's incredible. And
hmm
and so Frontline Faces, like for anybody that isn't aware, just let us know quickly, like what is Frontline Faces and what is that all about?
Yeah, so the Frontline Faces project I started near the beginning of the pandemic, and I wanted to recognize the people that were on the front lines. So at first, it was nurses and doctors or respiratory therapists. I wanted to get the message out there that it's important to see the face behind who is essentially keeping our community safe. And it turned into all essential workers are somebody that I or people that I wanted to recognize. So maybe faces that you wouldn't see very often. So first, that project started out with Quinny Waste Solutions. So had a few people there in the recycling depot, as attendants and as drivers. Funeral directors was the second, or a funeral director was the second person that I went for, and had somebody from Gleaners Food Bank. So just a variety of people or faces behind our essential working roles, I guess. So yeah, it was just a fun passion project that I think really boosted my knowledge on just what exactly what people do in the community and what helps build um, us as a whole, the contributors essentially. They're really important, essential.
Absolutely, and I've seen quite a bit of your stuff just on social and the different people that you're advocating for, and I just know that it's so appreciated by our community what you're doing and giving people not only a voice but a face to the name, so people kind of get to know who some of the frontline workers are right here in the Bay of Quinte. So I think that's really really neat that you're doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So on that note, so we're talking about you starting up a new business. Where are you operating out of first and foremost?
So I am out of 300 Maitland Drive in Belleville, and most people know that location as the Right Fit. Um, it's a building, or sorry, a business owned by Ashton Callan, and their philosophy is it's very in line with where I want to be with where I want to take my business, and yeah, it's such an awesome environment to be in. But yeah, so just over on Maitland Drive.
That's
Mhm.
awesome. And certainly we've interacted and heard from the people over at Right Fit. Great organization over there. They do incredible stuff in the community and have great services, and that's awesome. So how did that all come together? You finding that space and finding that was going to be a great fit for you and your business.
Well, again, this is just another full circle event that happened. Ashton Callan and I actually went to high school with her. So I was a grade 9 and she was in grade 12. So she was my senior, but we first met up in or playing rugby. So it's interesting that I remember from being in high school, I remember her so vividly just being such a strong leader on the team. I never forgot her ever. And when I got out of massage therapy school, I followed her on Instagram, and actually I've been following her before that on the Right Fit, and just watching their company develop over time, and seeing what her philosophy was in terms of health and wellness. It strikes a chord in my heart and in my soul that just says and just speaks to me that this is exactly where I want to be. But since I started working there, I had also encountered Hillary Wells. She's the RMT at that location, and I actually met her when I was in massage therapy school when I did my practicum over at Physio House, and it was just something about her that drew me to her energy, just the way she presented herself, the way she did treatment. It sounds a little bit silly, but she's just like my idol. So it's kind of cool to work alongside her and learn and grow with her. So yeah. And also, here's the other thing too,
Yeah.
which again, the full circle. The other girl that works at the Right Fit, her name is Cara, and she's a kinesiologist, and she's just finishing up her osteopathy program, so she'll be registered quite soon. But my fiance actually knows her very well, and I heard nothing but good things about this person. So it's just, yeah, it honestly blows my mind that I'm even in this position right now. That the stars just all aligned, and here I am.
That's fantastic, Whitney, and
Yeah.
it's you're so right. Like the connections, even like in high school or people that we've bumped heads with in the past or met, and years later you might see them again in a different capacity, whether it be through business or networking event or whatnot. So, it just reminds me of something that I was taught. Just be kind, be courteous to everybody, because you just never know who you're gonna
Yes,
come across in the
absolutely.
future, and that person that you bullied in high school could
Oh,
like
yeah,
own like a multi-million dollar tech company in like 20 years,
that's
and then you're
right.
trying to like get a job or do business with that person. Like it all comes full swing.
That's right. Yes. And I remember growing up on similar words. So, amen to that.
Absolutely. I have a question for you, Whitney.
Mhm.
What is your thoughts on faith? Because like I hear you talk, I hear like just some of the language and stuff that you'll use, and I'm just curious. What are your thoughts on faith?
Well, I am a very strong believer in faith. I feel like I've had a lot of life events that I've believed would work out in a certain way, and I've never been disappointed or had any fall throughs. I think that everything happens for a reason, and I think that's part of my faith. I try to look at things with a silver lining as much as I can, and take the lesson from what I go through, and know that this is just part of my journey, and that I'm meant to experience this to grow stronger um, as a person first and foremost, and now as a businesswoman. Um, yeah, so I have a very strong connection with faith in my daily dealings or daily thoughts. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome.
Hmm.
I'm just curious. Sometimes I pick up on things, and
Oh,
uh,
I think you have a very good inkling for that. That's for sure.
yeah,
Well, and I would say the same about yourself. So
yeah. Well,
I want to ask the same question.
yeah, no, I've definitely had a strong faith foundation. Just even from a young age, first it was faith that I saw my parents act out, and then over time, it became my own. And it's the moment where you decide, okay, yeah, I'm gonna surrender my life to Christ, and it's His will, not mine, and I'm just going to be a good steward of whatever He gives me. So I'm a big believer in that. Even for my business, I don't consider it my business. Actually, I believe it's God's, and I'm just a steward of it. So with that, it's things like pressure, stress that you can feel, anxiety. Uh, the pressure is a lot less because you're not in it alone, and you know that you're just a steward. You don't actually have full, complete control over everything. So kind of
Hmm.
it's given me the attitude and the expectation to not desire control over every aspect of my life. I'm very comfortable in giving over that control, and that's a daily exercise for me.
Wow, that that's bringing a tear to my eye. I think you've probably found out by now that I'm a bit of an emotional person at some point. So words can move me pretty easily. So
Yeah, yeah. So
mm,
I'm super curious too, because like obviously like there's a whole lot that as far as like things that you have to engage with, learn, work through when you're doing a startup. You talk about location, you talk about, okay, how do we get people through the door, all of those type of things. Because I want to use this conversation to bring value as much as any way I can. So, what are some things that you're kind of working through right now? They could be successes, they could be challenges, but kind of where are some things right now that you're like, like I want to grow in this area, or I want to learn more about this to kind of help get to where I'm wanting to go.
hmm. Well, I think right now, I think the biggest challenge has been organizing my time. I find that my brain can go a million miles an hour, and I need to really, I guess, press the stop button and slow things down a little bit. But yeah, the organization for sure. But I'm also trying to figure out, what steps do I take to make sure that I am making smart decisions in terms of the moves that I'm going to be making. So I think that's one reason why I asked you yesterday over Instagram, do you do business coaching? Because I've heard business owners such as Ashton who have business coaches, and I know other successful business owners in the community that have their coaches as well. And I was really curious to see what that's all about, because clearly it's something that makes them successful. It makes them understand what they're doing on a more clear path, keeps them in line. And I guess that's what my vision of what a business coach is, but I really don't know. But you got to ask these questions to get those answers. And yeah, I'm just trying to learn from the best right now and take all the advice that I can and absorb everything like a sponge, and just be humble about where I am and that I don't really know. To be honest, I don't know a whole lot about owning a business, but you know, everybody's got to start somewhere.
Well, and I'll say this, Whitney, you have like the perfect attitude in regards to the expectation you have of, seeking guidance, seeking advice, seeking perspective from those that have gone before you, whether it's, right fit people that they've been in business for several, years, and or people in the community that have, they've had quite a bit of experience in the business world. I think that it just goes without saying that that's the best thing that you can do, is connect with people that are either doing exactly what you want to do and they've been doing it longer, or sometimes it's people that have experience in completely different industries, but you've seen, how they've grown, and certain things that they might say might resonate with you differently and help you with what you're doing. I'm certainly the product of somebody who just loves to sit and listen to the older generation. The majority of my friends, especially the church I go to, are north of 50, well north of 50. And, we'll sit down at the dinner table or out for lunch, and I'll just listen. I'll ask them questions, and I'll just sit back and listen. And I find from that, all the mistakes that they've made, you can then avoid making those mistakes yourself, because you're just going to learn from their actions and things that they learned. And I'm a big
Mm-hmm.
believer, if you can avoid those mistakes and then just kind of go on the smooth path that's gonna take you up, I'm gonna take
Mm-hmm.
that road 10 times out of 10. So
Yeah. Well, why reinvent the wheel, right?
exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, and in answer to your question, like, I have a business coach. And one thing like I really appreciate about that, not only can they like give you like show you experience and just kind of help walk with you through the day to day, but they're also a sounding board. So any ideas that you have, things that you're thinking about for the business, that you can always run that stuff by them, and they can counsel you. Whether they have a different perspective or a different angle that they can help. Showcase within a conversation that they're having with you. My business coach, we are complete opposites in a lot of different ways, and I did that on purpose as far as choosing him, because I'm like, you know what, you're going to have my blind spots. The stuff that I'm not thinking about is the stuff you're going to be thinking about, just because we're complete opposites and we focus on different things. So,
Mm-hmm. Sorry, just one second.
no, no problem.
Sorry, the dog's going a little crazy.
That's all right.
Yeah, no, it's funny that you say that that you chose somebody that was on the complete opposite end of the spectrum to you to catch your blind spot. And it's I actually didn't even really think of that. I was thinking maybe I should go with somebody that I really connect with so they can see my vision and I guess really understand like where I'm coming from. So do you think that there's any cons to I guess working with people that are more similar to your style, or what do you think about that?
I think you have to. I think there's you have to find people that are very similar to you as far as like them supporting and really getting a high off of the ideas and direction that you're wanting to go in. Ultimately, it is your business, and you got to surround yourself with like-minded people that are going to encourage you and support you in that. For me,
Mm-hmm.
I have enough of that. I'm very, very blessed to have many people around me that think just as I do in regards to things that I dream and execute on in my business. So when it came to a business coach, I was like, I looked at my own situation. I just made a judgment call. It was like I have enough people around me that really I really connect with on a level where we're very similar in different ways on what we want to accomplish. Let me find somebody that has a different approach. And I did that strategically because I knew I didn't need another person that was just completely in full support, and they weren't really going to poke anything as far as testing and challenging. I needed somebody who was going to do that, so that's why I went in that direction. But in my opinion, you need both. You need both.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and do you have like I'm trying to think because you have like several social media accounts. You have one for this business, do you not?
Kind of. I'm just riding off of um, the Instagram account and Facebook account that I had for Whitney Black RMT pretty much since the beginning of my career. So I've had it for at least a year. But what I'm trying to do right now is segue my pages into um, I guess, a visual identity of who I am as a practitioner, what my goals are as a practitioner, and then also with branding. I'm trying to go in a direction where people know me for my works, um, but they can also think about my brand or my logo when they think pain management or um, feeling better or relaxation or whatever the case may be. Yeah, if that makes any sense.
Oh, it makes complete sense. Your brand is a reflection of you and the dream that you started. So, yeah, that's certainly more than an appropriate next step for you as far as establishing what that looks like. So your brand not only has a face, which is you, but it has a look, it has a style, and all of
Mm-hmm.
those things can be determined through branding. So. No, that's definitely an appropriate next step for you. You talk about things like is the business name going to be Whitney Black RMTs? They're going to be a different name for the business that you're going to use. So all those things come into consideration. But yeah, that's a perfect next step and something that will really help to build the foundation for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, even on top of that, I've been advised by several business owners in the community that having a good accountant and a good lawyer are like the number one first steps with your business. But I find it's interesting because as much as I agree with that, it's as somebody who's starting up a business, it's not always the easiest financially. Um, so, how do you go about strategizing, who or what to do in terms of, um, which accountant you choose or which lawyer you choose when you don't even know, who's who in the community in that sense. So that's another challenge that I've experienced with starting up this business. So I'm in all honesty, I'm trying to do a lot of the work myself right now, with bookkeeping and just keeping my finances in order. It's a lot of work, which I'm finding out, but I do enjoy the challenge of learning these new things.
Yeah, and you know what, and to a degree, Whitney, it's good to know some of these things because somebody told me once. They said, every process in your business, you don't have to do every process in your business, but you have to know enough about it to know if somebody else is doing it well or not. Um,
Mm,
so that was really valuable to me because it showed me that, yeah, it's just like any investment in life. If you buy a house, it's in your best interest to know the ins and outs of the house. That doesn't mean that you have to fix the furnace yourself every time something happens. But if you know things about the furnace, like how old is the furnace, how long until maybe I need to get that furnace replaced, what type of maintenance is required for it, things of that nature, it really helps you to understand the expectation. And then when you bring somebody in, there's more comfort there because you know more about your investment. So I say the same thing in business. Learn as much as you can up front. It does not mean that you have to do everything yourself for the long term.
mm, mm,
This business is going to evolve. This business is going to grow, and over time, there's going to be things that you're going to automate and things that you're not going to touch anymore. And that's not a bad thing at all. And it's not a bad thing that you're doing it all right now either. I think for you, you just have to kind of figure out your comfort level, and then just be very intentional about how you evolve the business as far as what you are doing or what you're not. Because remember, you got into this business to do what you love.
true.
Um, I, I don't love admin. I really don't love admin. I love HR. I'm a huge fan of HR. Not a lot of
Hmm.
people like it. I love it. So I try to do focus on the things that I really enjoy as well. Because why the heck else did we get in this in the first place? So and then
Hmm.
you just you automate what you can, you delegate what you can, and then if there's things that don't need to be there, you get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. Very wise. That's true. And yeah, another thing, another piece of advice I was given was you got to spend money to make money. I just want to spend my money wisely.
Yeah, it's a very very good point too. Like it's crazy because right now we're living in a time where you can use little to no funds to start your business at all. Like, and I'll just be like completely blunt about this. Like, I hate debt. I loathe debt. I don't loathe many things in life. I loathe debt.
Hmm.
And my like the last 3 years have been a whirlwind because I've learned so much about it, and it's been great because it's gotten me to a place where I'm so intentional about what I want my financial footprint to look like,
Hmm. Hmm.
what that means as far as things you talk about, things like debt snowball and paying things down, and being intentional about that stuff. So yeah, I think, yeah, you do have to spend money to make money, and I think you can do it in a way that's constructive and not in a way where you can't sleep at night because you're just full of anxiety about it. I think there
Mm.
is a balancing point there.
Gotcha. That honestly, that helps so much more than you know. I feel like I
Because it's a
needed to
lot,
hear that.
right? Well, it's
It is
it's
a
a
lot.
a lot, right? Like when you think about, like, you have your rent costs, and then you have the cost of your equipment, and then like taxes and accounting and all this stuff like that.
Hmm.
Like, and one of the number one questions I ask when any startup comes to me, I say, okay, is your revenue going to be paying for my services, or is debt going to be paying for my services? Because it's a
Mm,
whole different conversation depending on what the answer to that question is. I personally do not. I'm not a huge fan of raising capital. I'm just not. It works for a lot of people. I'm just not a fan of it because
hmm
I'm always about long term. Let's pay down the debt. Let's get debt free. If we
hmm
can go in the complete opposite direction of where most of the world sits as far as debt being a good thing. So that's just my thoughts on it, and it's different for everybody. But I would definitely say there's constructive ways to do things. You can still get what,
hmm
but do it in a way like you said, where you're careful about it, you're smart about it, and it's something that you can pay down quickly over time.
Yeah, I think that's a thought we have in common because I am not about the debt at all. It's not my friend.
Well, I'll tell you quickly. Like, I actually, so my first home I bought was 4 years ago, and so I had the house. So we had mortgage. We had like um, two car loans. I had school debt, and I had credit card debt. Right.
hmm
So what happened was I got introduced to the wonderful Dave Ramsey, who is a personality who teaches about financial freedom. Anyway, it was the first time I ever heard it like so practically where I could like implement it like the next day. It was like the 7 baby steps. Look it up if you get an opportunity. It's incredible. But anyway, I started doing the baby steps, and then I we decided, hey, let's just sell this house, pay off all of our debt, and like buy and downsize, like buy something like just really small, like even like a mobile home. So that's exactly what we did. We sold
Right
our
on.
house, we paid off all of our consumer debt, and we bought a mobile home cash in like Brighton's only mobile home park, and we lived there I think for like 12 months. We bought it for like 118 and then like flipped it for like 134, so we made money off of it,
Wow.
and had no consumer debt, and then got back into a stick frame house. So that was like one of the best experiences of my life, because like during that time that we lived in the mobile home, I didn't have a dime to my name as far as debt went. And that set the foundation, because a month later, Whitney, OSM came up for sale.
No way. Oh
And
man.
I was able to buy because I did not have any debt hanging over my head at the time.
That's yeah, again the full circle, right? Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and I like that you guys could see past the here and now and take the chance of, like selling your home, paying off your debt, and for a short time, living in a place that, maybe wasn't 100% ideal for where you saw yourself for the rest of your life, but it sounds like it has set you on a better path and on a better foot, to a point where you've eliminated, worry about debt, and having that hang over your head. So I think that it's very wise to make those decisions if you can see past the here and now and the short term.
Well, everybody's about like instant like gratification, right? Like that's the society that we live in. Like everybody wants everything now, and like
Mm-hmm.
I'm so big on patience, because it really sets the groundwork for just what you want out of life, but enjoying the process along the way, because the
Yeah,
process is where you're going to learn something. Nobody
yeah,
learns something
absolutely.
from just be given what they want or getting where they want to go. They learn in the dirt. So that's what I'm big on. That's what I like to talk about all the time.
I love it.
So Whitney, what is on the horizon for you? What are like if you can just paint the picture of what you would like the next year to look like, or what you foresee in the next year in your business, what does that look like? What do you want that to look like for you?
Well, I want to be uber successful. I mean, that's what I'd love in the first, few months, but that's a little bit unrealistic. But in the next year, I would like people to. I would like when people hear my name, it's a buzzword to them, and it's a name that they go, "Oh yeah, Whitney's the one who helped my friend recover from this," or "she did this for my friend and now they're pain free," or I just want to be that person that, yeah, when people are in need of help, they think of my name. I don't know if that sounds like selfish in any way, but I want to help as many people as I can. I want to be that person that people can rely on and trust. Um, but at the same time, after a year of business, like I know I'm going to have learned so much about myself. I mean, I learned so much about myself working in a clinic setting after a year, and I found my strengths working in a clinic setting. So I can honestly only imagine that a year from now, I am going to be a better version of myself. And even if I do go through lots of ups and downs, um, I know that it's going to be something that helps build my character. But in all honesty, I never really thought about that. I never thought, where can I see myself a year from now in this business until you asked me. So I actually really appreciate that, because that's opened my mind to, well, where exactly do I want to be in a year?
Well,
Where do I want to be in 5?
I'll tell you, it's a great question to ask, because what it then does, that question alone brings up actionable items that are like, yeah, if I'm intentional about this for the next 6 to 12 months, that's actually doable. Like when you said, I want people to like say my name and say, hey, they like, Whitney helped me out with this. Whitney helped me get over this. Like the first thing that popped in my head is like, yeah, Whitney, like every person that you get in your chair, you gotta make sure that like every 1 out of 2 people that get in your chair for the next 12 months, you get a video testimony out of.
Oh,
And
yeah.
no, I'm serious though, because like if and then flood social media with that video content over time, and exactly what you want to happen will happen.
Hmm.
I'm telling you right now. I'm
You
telling you right
know,
now.
it's so funny because I believe in the power of social media so much, and I have had people scoff at the idea of social media being a big drive for business, and I'm like, you guys are missing out on an opportunity to reach people that you wouldn't reach by word of mouth, maybe, right? And
They
I think that.
scoff They scoff because they're in the sales game. They're not in the brand game. And
Mhm.
brand always outlasts sales.
Good
Always.
point.
Because
Okay, so
the day is coming when people are gonna think, okay, I need somebody to take care of this. And
yeah.
they're not gonna think, okay, who's got like a deal going on. They're gonna be like, no, who's got the best experience?
Yeah, like people are viewing people's business profiles before they make the decision to give them their money, essentially. And I think when I was saying at the beginning that building my social media platform and creating a brand for myself and showing people who I am, it's important, and I think it's also very smart to do it that way. And people who tell me otherwise, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go my own way and I'm going to prove you wrong. So I've had an insight, and you got to go where, with your gut and what you believe to be a good bet for generating profit, generating attention. Yeah.
And there's no doubt socials where the attention is. Like the amount of like
Mm-hmm.
so funny because like like you'll hear people say like, "Oh my goodness, like I've gotten off of social media because it's so negative," and it's like, okay, you can't tell me that social does not have like an impact on people. You
Mm-hmm.
decided to leave social because of the amount of negative
Mm-hmm.
comments or whatever that's on it. Like, how is that not impact? It's impact.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's where the
And
attention is.
well, and the internet is it's the same thing. I heard the same thing about, you can either use the internet for good or for evil, for lack of a better word. And the same with social media. Like you have the power at your fingertips to read what you want to read, to follow who you want to follow. Um, so it's yeah, there are definitely some impacts with a lot of impacts with social media and mental health, but I think that also depends on how you were brought up to view social media platforms. And I think like a lot of kids coming up this age, and this is a bit of a digress from the conversation, but like I do truly believe like there are detriments to social media, but for my purposes and for my vision of it, I don't see it as a detriment. I see it as more of an advantage.
Exactly. It's how you use it. It's
Mm-hmm.
100% how you use it and how you respond to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Very
Whitney,
true.
I'm so glad I got the opportunity to catch up with you. We talked like close to the beginning of this whole thing, and it's so cool to catch up with you now and see what you're up to and what you're doing.
Yeah, you as well. I really appreciate the conversation, and it's always a pleasure to hear you talk. You've always got so many amazing things to say. So, and I take so much away from these conversations.
Awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let people know quickly where they can find you when they watch this video.
Sure, I'm over at the Right Fit on 300 Maitland Drive in Belleville, Ontario.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Whitney. We'll be
Thanks, Josh. Take care.